Moving on, consideration and action on instruction to the city manager not to pay any other lawyer or law firm for work allegedly performed on behalf of the city without official approval, authorizing the hiring of additional legal counsel by the city council and approval of invoices by the city council at a regular meeting. I believe our city charter provides that the mayor shall appoint and provide for payment of the city attorney. So I don't know if, Ms. Woodward, do you want to opine on the validity of this agenda item? Not that it will make any difference, but.
Again, my advice would be that this is the subject of a legal matter that is currently pending in the court, and that I would recommend you wait a ruling from the court. I also would point out that my law firm has a contract with the city, but unless you have any other questions, I have nothing.
Yeah, I have a question for you. What does provide for payment mean? Does that mean provide for the mechanism by which the city manager would pay? Or does that mean that the mayor has the ability to simply write checks to the whoever she wants to for a city attorney?
Or thirdly, reading it literally, does it mean that the mayor out of her pocket pays the attorney?
Well, all I can do is refer you to section 312 of the city charter, which states the mayor shall appoint a city attorney together with such assistant city attorneys as may be authorized, and shall provide for the payment of such attorney or attorneys for services rendered to the city.
What does shall provide for payment mean?
I believe she just answered that question, Councilman Emanuel. I will be happy to share with you. There is case law out there that I will be happy to forward with you after tonight that says that this is actual language out of the Georgia Municipal Association's model charter, and there's case law that says that as long as the item is budgeted for, the mayor has the right to authorize the payments. The council can control the budget, but as long as it's a line item in the city's budget, which legal fees are $120,000 a year in our city budget, then the mayor has the authority to authorize the payments to the attorney, and there is a case on point to that I will be happy to email to you.
You have my email address.
Any further discussion?
I'd like to make a motion.
I'm waiting.
Consideration, I'd like to make a motion that we instruct the city manager not to pay any other lawyer or law firms for work allegedly performed on behalf of the city without official approval, authorizing the hiring of additional legal counsel by the city council, and approval of invoices by the city council at a regular meeting.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Further discussion. Ms. Woodward, if the council were to pass this motion, is it in conflict with our city charter? As far as the approval of the city council for the city attorney?
Based upon my reading of the charter, it would be in conflict. But again, that's the subject of a pending lawsuit.
If the council were to pass this motion tonight, would it subject the city to any liability for legal fees that the city could incur?
Well, the short answer would be yes, it could. As I stated, there is a contract between my firm and the city, which was signed by the mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Woodward.
When was that contract signed? Ms. Woodward?
She's there looking at it.
I don't know, to tell you the truth. The 13th of December, 2012.
It's the same date that notice was sent to Mr. Powell that I was making a new appointment for the city attorney.
Thank you.
So then the city would not, then whatever payment you would be, whatever billings you would have, whatever payments you would receive from the city would be subsequent to December 13th when you've supposedly signed the contract.
Well, no.
In the eyes of the city, they are still serving as the city attorney.
Interim city attorney
Right.
until
I
a
understand.
permanent city attorney is chosen.
I got you.
Is the
Right, so, but all the billing would be December 13th or subsequent to that.
With regard to being the interim city attorney,
Okay.
yes. Our
Okay.
firm has done very minimal prior work predating December 13th.
In what capacity did you do that work if you weren't our city attorney?
We were retained as outside counsel in connection with some litigation.
And who authorized that?
And based on,
I authorized that. There was a signed contract. They were retained as city attorney for the limited purpose to be the city attorney for the Marilyn Sweeney action. After I found that Mr. Powell had a potential conflict of interest. I believe the city charter allows the mayor to not only hire city attorneys, but to hire all special assistant city attorneys as it's deemed necessary.
No, not necessary, authorized. There's a difference.
Okay, well, that can be something you can take up with the judge. In the
we-
meantime, we have a motion in front of us. Is there any further discussion on this motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion as stated signify by raising your right hand. That's 4 in favor. All those opposed, that's 1 opposed. The motion carries. Consideration action on a resolution authorizing the city attorney, Tony Powell, to move forward with a declaratory judgment action of certain laws of the state of Georgia, the city charter of the city of Snellville, and the city code of the city of Snellville. Again, we have a resolution. Has anyone actually drafted a written resolution?
We have not drafted the resolution, Mayor. What we will do is make this as a motion and request that the resolution be drawn up for signature at Monday's meeting, January 14th.
Ms. Woodward, have you reviewed the charter? The city attorney is to be the official legal representative of the city. So at this point in time, if there is a conflict as to who the city attorney is, can Mr. Powell file a legal document on behalf of the city?
that, of course, is exactly the subject of a pending lawsuit, and I don't care to opine on that. Thank you.
Could I ask a question, please?
Yes.
And I didn't get to ask this just a second ago, but going back to your contract that you signed on December the 13th, was there a value placed on that contract?
A value, I don't believe so, because there wasn't a specific, for one thing, there wasn't a specific end date. It was until it was terminated otherwise, or a
Can you
permanent
can you verify
city
that?
attorney was hired.
And verify the hourly rates. There's an hourly rate,
Okay,
there's not a budget.
okay. And that hourly rate is more than what we currently pay? Okay. And there wasn't an expected value on that in excess of $100,000, or was there anything talked about as far as our typical billings for the month would run in excess of X, Y, or Z?
We're not asked to do that.
Okay, thank you.
And if I could add, the reason for the higher than typical hourly rate is because it was for a temporary period, and we were going to have to become familiar with your city, and it was just for a temporary period, and that's the reason for that rate differential.
We brought you in, and I told you I hope to have a permanent replacement in the first meeting in January. It doesn't look like that's going to happen because of this legal, and you and Ms. Jackson have been fantastic, and we've kind of put you in the middle of all of this, and so we appreciate you, both of you, for being here tonight and for bearing with us.
Let me correct one thing. We didn't do that.
I understand.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion.
I thought you already made a motion.
Then my motion stands.
Me.
Second.
He said he wanted to handle it as a motion, but he didn't actually make it.
I saying
I
it is
thought you said
non-motion.
we were going to have the resolution and sign it on Monday. I apologize. They're all starting to run together. What is your motion?
I make a motion that we authorize the city attorney, Tony Powell, to move forward with declaratory judgment action of certain laws for the state of Georgia, the city charter of the city of Snellville, and the city code of the city of Snellville.
Second.
There's a motion and there's a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. It's 4 in favor, all those opposed, 1 opposed. The motion stands approved. That is the end of our agenda. We are adjourned. The time is, can't see that far. 8:27. Have a good evening.